Oh, wait a second. It says setting it up. 1 second. Okay, it says we're live. So that must mean I'm doing that thing that I was just making fun of everybody else doing. Looking around, thinking that they're not live, and they are live. But we are live. I think we're going to do this. Thank you so much, everybody, for logging in. This is amazing to scroll across and see so many amazing people from so many different times in the program over the last 10 years that I've been around. From Dylan, our last standing student of the semester, Dylan refuses to leave, all the way back to Terry, one of the first students that we had, maybe Xander's here as well, I think, of the first group, and of that group 10 years in between. Mamash, just really, really amazing. So just a big shout out. Thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of this. So I just want to start with a story about Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was traveling and he had nowhere to sleep. So he slept along the woods. And all of a sudden, I guess that was the time back, they had back then, wild lions. We have like wild pigs here in Beit El that I've seen, but I've never seen a wild lion. So that wild lion that came and ate his donkey. The night's not going so well. And then a cat comes and eats his rooster. The bad stuff continues. And he's got his candle, though. He's got his light. He's got his little flame so he can see. And what happens? A strong wind comes along and blows out his candle. At the end of all this, Rabbi Akiva says amazingly, Gamzu Latova. Somehow this is going to work out. I don't know why. I don't know how. But the good is going to come out from this. And the next day, indeed, Rabbi Akiva found out that the city that he was camping nearby that had been attacked by robbers. The whole town was destroyed and ransacked. And because he didn't have his donkey, he didn't have his rooster, he didn't have his light, they didn't see him. So he was able to get by and survive the night. This is a story told in the Talmud in the Gemara in Brachot. It's interesting what Rabbi Akiva says. He doesn't say Zatov, Tovli, as we would say in modern Hebrew. Tovli Akshav. He says Gam Zuletova. And all you guys have spent some time at Hebrew University studying Hebrew, and you know that Litova has a connotation of towards. Right? So the good is not going to be experienced right now, but there is Litova. We're working towards. There's going to be some good that I might not see right now. Rabbi Akiva got to see it the next day, so that was good. But it might not be able to be experienced right now. But there's good coming. And that's something that I keep in mind a lot these days, because we're obviously in a very difficult situation here in Eretz Yisrael. Thank God we're coming out of a very difficult situation, but it's not over. I know when I look and see your faces all over the world, all over America, all over Israel, especially those that are in America, I know that the situation is still very, very serious and very grave in some places. So with that in mind, Gamzu Latova, there are good things that can come from this. Maybe not in the moment right now, and that's not in any way to belittle the challenges that those of us who are going through them are going through them. But it does mean that there are positive openings that are coming through this. And one of them is starting these Zoom classes. To be able to see students, alumni, to reconnect with all of you guys. Like, when would we have done this? If we were sitting at Hebrew U tonight, would I have put on the Zoom and got alumni from all different places all over the world together? Definitely not. So I'm just so grateful that the situation allowed for something that was Gamzu Latova, for all of us to be able to get together and connect tonight and to be able to share with one another. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. So I'll give just kind of the general outline of how this night is going to go and how we're going to manage all these amazing people to hear from all of you. But just first, I just want to share a little something about the time period that we're in now and why it is that we're doing this now. So we're sitting now at the end of a 50-day journey. that we started right after Pesach. Shavuot is the culmination of this process, 49 days worth of personal growth, which culminates in the receiving of the Torah, which comes Wednesday night. Thursday night. Just in a few days from now. We just counted here in Israel the 47th night of the Omer. So we only have a few more days to go before this moment of receiving the Torah. And whether or not you think that this is a historical truth or not doesn't really matter to me. The story and the images are very powerful and have much to teach us. And, first and foremost, if you want to talk about spirituality, like you thought, I don't know, Woodstock or Lollapalooza, that was what was cool back in my day. You thought that was spiritual? Like, forget it. Like at Har Sinai, they saw the sounds, man. That was like as groovy as it gets. This is a seriously spiritual moment. One of my favorite depictions of the event is that, yes, true, the Torah was experienced as a national revelation. All of the Jewish people, all the Israelites were there together, and it was a joint experience. But, and I think this is very profound, there was also a personal revelation that each and every person there experienced on their own level. In other words, according to some, it wasn't a booming voice that shook the mountain and sounded like Charlton Heston or whoever it sounded like, James Earl Jones, right? It wasn't that kind of experience. It was an experience that the Maharal says that each and every person themselves heard in their own ears, in their own heart, in their own mind. And what's powerful about that is that anyone who's ever played the game telephone knows that, you might share the same thing with one person to the next person, but the way a person hears it, even if the message is the same, the way a person hears it is going to be different from person to person. Again, the message is not different, but the vehicle through hearing it, our hearts, our minds, the way that we heard it and experienced is something unique. I think that's something that's very, very profound as we come up to Shavuot. So maybe that's what the rabbis meant, or they're hinting to or alluding to when they say that each and every Jew has a letter in the Torah that's theirs. Everyone has their own chelik in Torah. Everyone has their own piece or part of Torah. And what's amazing about a chelik, a piece or a part, is that I only have my one piece and my one part. But when I sit down with Jess and Tyler and Scott and Daniel and Zari and Terry, Rabbi Grodner and everybody, it's just who I see in front of me, we all put our pieces together and we're able to see something more of the totality and the experience of what that experience was that we carry with us today. That's really the idea that I had, and Shani, I think she actually came up with the idea, so I'm very grateful to her, who helps out a lot, and we'll hear from her as well. The idea really came from that, from a desire to have not just Rabbi Grodner and I share our chelik, but to really hear from all of you guys and to hear your chelik. And as I look around and see all the different faces and realize everyone's coming from such a beautiful, diverse, different background, both physically and spiritually, we're going to have a lot of awesome chelikim all coming together tonight to paint a big, broad picture of what our personal connection to Judaism is, to Torah is, how it adds to our life, what makes it meaningful in our life. So that's what we're going to do for the next, I don't have anywhere to go. Rabbi Grodner and I will be here all night, at least I will. Happy to hear people and share with people, but for the next hour or so, to hear from people and to have their wows. So as I hope everyone knows who spent some time with us, wows are words of wisdom, because some of us have more Torah and some of us have less Torah, but we all have something meaningful to share, and especially in light of what we just shared. So that's what's going to be tonight, a night of wows, sharing our personal connection to Torah and to the Jewish tradition. So here are the rules, how it works. First of all, everyone who wants to speak has the opportunity to do so. We want to hear from as many people as possible that would like to share. Okay, there are some people that already volunteered, so that those are who I have on my list. But if you would like to share, don't feel shy. Please make it known that you'd like to share as well. So what does sharing look like? It's a personal story or a personal reflection. That's the wow part of it. But before you share that, we just like to know, because Rabbi Grodner and I are enjoying seeing all these faces, but not everybody else knows everybody else. So this is an awesome opportunity to meet some new people as well. So if you share with us your name, where you are in the world right now, and when you're at Hebrew U, and what you're doing in life in general. Just keep it short on that so we can focus on your wow. But just again, your name so we know who you are, where you are, when you're at Hebrew U, and what you're doing in life. Sounds good? Okay, so last but not least, if you guys remember, for some of you, it was a while ago, when someone gets up to give a wow, we have to, Azaria's laughing. Yes, we're going to do it, Azaria. When someone gives up to give a wow, you have to make them feel like they're saving the world. It's a special and integral part of it. And the truth is that sometimes you never know, your words may be saving someone. So many times after people have spoken in the Beit Midrash, other students have come up to me and said, wow, what that person said was really a wow. It can change people's lives. So we really want to make everyone feel warm and excited and ready, and really, even though we can't be together, to give a strong, warm welcome. So, you guys know this better than I do. You can push your space bar and give a woo-woo before the person speaks. And then after as well, if you want to be, more discreet about it, you can put a little hand clap, of it as well. But we can make some noise here, It'd be nice to hear an exciting round of applause before and after everybody speaks. So that's the ground rules. Sounds good? Yeah? Nods, fists, all good, all good. Okay, so let me look around here and see where to begin. Where to begin. Max, thank you for the thumbs up.
DA. DA should speak.
DA should speak. Wow. The crowd wants DA. So there was, let me just check. There was one, is Chana Barkadori here? Chana Damatov. She said she had to sign off early, but I don't see her now. Just wanted to make sure she's not here. Chana's not here? Okay, she's not here. So, wow, the crowd wants DA. Unbelievable. Daniel Albert, the Chatan, just married. So we're going to turn the wow over to you, Daniel, DA. Give him a big round of applause.
Woo, Daniel! Hi, everyone. So good to see so many familiar faces and also so many new faces. My name is Daniel Albert. Many people know me as DA. I was in Hebrew U in 2017 for the spring semester on the Nachshon project. I am currently a second-year rabbinical student at Yeshiva University in RITZ. I'm also just about to receive an MS in Digital Marketing and Media from Yeshiva University. And like Rabbi Yudrin said, I actually just celebrated my 3-month anniversary getting married, literally right before craziness happened.
Mazel tov!
Mazel tov.
Did I miss anything from the background? I think that was it.
You're good, you're good.
So I just wanted to share 3 quick ideas that all relate to Shavuot. The first is about blessings said on learning Torah. The second is a quote from a famous sefer called Alei Shor. And the third is a quote from Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of Our Fathers. We'll then mesh it together with a short Shavuot idea. If someone eats an apple for breakfast, they would make a bracha, borei pri ha'etz, and then eat the apple. Now, here we are at lunchtime, and I want to eat an orange. So I already made the bracha in the morning. Do I need to make another bracha now at lunch on my orange? The answer is, of course I do. It's a different meal. I ate my apple, I said a bracha achrona, an after blessing, and that's it. Anything after that needs a brand new bracha. However, blessing said for Torah learning, we say in the morning, and we only say once for the whole day. So I make the bracha in the morning, I can learn a little bit, go about my day, and at 5 p.m. when I get home from work or from school, I find a little time to learn the Parsha, the weekly Torah reading, and I don't make a new bracha. Why is that? I believe we can see the answer for this come out in the next two short ideas. Rav Wolbe, in his work, Alei Shor, says that learning Torah is like breathing. Not only do we have to do it, sometimes we do so without even realizing. We can't wake up one morning and say, this morning, I'm not really feeling breathing. It's too much. I'm too tired. I need a break from breathing today. No, you'd be dead. But that doesn't mean that you have to sit and learn Torah 24 hours a day. Torah is so much woven into our lives. Not only the more obvious mitzvot like keeping kosher or prayer, even our secular lives, such as love your neighbor like yourself, be kind to others, help others out, establish fair courts, conduct honest business, and more. In Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers, it says in chapter 3, Mishnah 7, Rabbi Shimon says, one who is walking on the road and learning Torah and interrupts his learning and says, how beautiful is this tree? Scripture accounts it to him as if he is liable for his life. There was a beautiful commentary I once saw that said that you really need to read or translate the Mishnah as following. If you think that stopping learning to comment on the beauty of Hashem's world and creations, and you think that that's considered interrupting, then that's when a person is liable for their lives. To bring these three together, Torah is not something that you just stop. Torah is intrinsic to the world. It shows us morality and how to treat others, and more importantly, how to treat ourselves. Even if you're not actively learning Torah, you're interacting with it. You can observe how perfectly Hashem placed the earth so we could live comfortably without freezing to death or burning up. How gravity works so well to keep us connected to the ground and not fly up into space. That trees grow and give off oxygen and take in the very carbon dioxide, which would be toxic to us otherwise. However, if Torah is everywhere and everything, sometimes even without realizing, why would it be necessary to stay up all night learning on Shavuot? I'd like to suggest that by staying up all night, we are nourishing our souls with enough content and substance to carry us through the whole year. It provides us with the very tools and ability to see Hashem in our everyday lives. Staying up all night is a burst of energy that provides us with enough inspiration to carry us into the year ahead. Thank you.
Yay!
Yay.
You wowed us.
Nice.
Thank you, DA. Beautiful way to get us started. Thank you very, very much, DA. Oh, you got a shkoyach in the chat. And wow. Joel was waiting for that one. Yefim Od. Beautiful, DA. Thank you. And Mazel Tov, DA. What's your college name?
Marjorie.
Good answer. Amazing. Only good things, only blessings to you, DA. Thank you so much for logging on and sharing with us. We're going to carry that through the year, not just through tonight, but through the whole year. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Now, let's stay on the East Coast. You're in New York. I don't know if maybe you didn't mention that, right, DA? You're in New York? Yeah. So let's stay on the East Coast of America right now. And we're going to go to... Hey, Jess, how you doing?
Hey.
You ready for us?
Sure.
Okay, we're ready for you. Hit us.
So, hi guys. My name is Jess. I was at Hebrew U last spring, so 2019, and I just graduated from Muhlenberg College in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and hopefully next year I'll be teaching English in a New York City public school. So I have words. Sorry. So thinking back, on my last 4 years as a college student and all that. My friends and I spent a lot of time working on the Muhlenberg Jewish community, because if anybody knows Muhlenberg, it has a decent Jewish population, it has all the resources, but it didn't necessarily have the momentum when we got there. So every year we put in a little more and got a little more going. And this year, for the first time ever, we had a Purim suit on campus. And with over 50 students in a room, sharing Torah, celebrating Purim, and it was amazing. And then that night, the email came out saying we're leaving campus. And it was just this weird moment of we reached so high, and then that's it. Senior year, gone. Everything we built for, that was it. And I think it's interesting that we've been in quarantine now in America for almost 3 months, and it's about to be Shavuot. So it's the last of the major holidays of the year. And I'm thinking back to that last holiday on campus and how this Shavuot is different. Tikkun Leil Shavuot, typically we're up all night and you're at shul and there's 3 shiurs to pick from every hour. And if you don't like one of those 3 shiurs, you bring a book and you find something to learn with a friend. And there's friends everywhere and family everywhere, and it's a great time and it's full of community. Everything we're lacking now. Shul, community, it's not here. But that doesn't mean it can't be the same. It's gonna be harder. So many people I hear say, like friends of mine, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it this year, staying up all night. The effort that you put in is how you reach the end. You can't get to the end. You can't create something, whether it's in a community or in your own home, without putting in the effort. And this year, it's going to take more effort. But that doesn't mean it's less worth it. It's going to come out and it's still going to be just as beautiful, because taking the time and putting in that effort to make Shavuos and Tikkun Leil Shavuos something meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you. Woo! Amazing. Thank you so much. You did amazing things at Muhlenberg. We were all watching from afar and appreciating all the incredible things that you did there. You were one of them, amazing students that took from your experience and brought it back there. And kol hakavod. And there are very big things are waiting for you. There's a bright future waiting for you, Jess, no doubt. So thank you so, so much for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. So Jess was a student just very recently. So I want to step back in the time machine a little bit to the very first group. This was back all the way in 2010. And I got on campus, no idea what I was doing. So walking around, like you guys probably all remember me walking around asking people if they are interested in learning. And there was this just amazing group that actually were excited about it and were interested in it. And since I never did it before, I didn't know if it would work, and it worked. And they were really an incredible group, like every group. But I guess, the first always holds a special place in your heart. So I want to invite one of the first students that I had the chance to interact with back in 2010. I think that's right. Terry first. Terry is also doing amazing things now in Philly at Temple University. So Terry, I'm going to turn it over to you, please. Wait, we have to give her a big round of applause. Terry, woo!
Thanks, guys. I think this is actually my first wow. I don't know if we were doing that all 10 years ago. Both Rabbi Yonatan and I don't look any older by any means. So I'm working at Temple University in the Hillel world. I'm a director of development, so fundraising. My background's also in community engagement and synagogues. I thought a lot about this because I think it was really this program that showed me the beauty of Torah and everything that Daniel and Jess were just sharing. And I thought of 3 points during this time. The first is the role of Torah in our life in keeping time. I think this is a time when all of us what day is it? And to see this time in our life span really from Purim to Shavuot, it's like a whole new kind of journey in many ways. And just having time, having the same Torah portion that would have come every other year come next and anchor us is something I think so beautiful about Torah and the role it plays in our lives. And I also think about Torah as the lessons to learn about hard things. I'm thinking a lot about the story of Ruth as we enter Shavuot, and how Ruth's life wasn't that easy, and how there are times discomfort, and how you see the Torah and the way the Torah builds our society or tells our stories, showing the things that we need in our world to be better, whether that's empathy or patience or warmth or welcoming. And every time you read the Torah, you find a new nugget. And it's not just given to you. You have to work for it. And I think in our life, that's an invaluable lesson about working to find and do better. And the Torah, there's always a different journey and path to pick from. And I think that's an important reminder of us. And the last thing I'll say is how the Torah is living, and it lives through all of us. I think we're all going to make some kind of touch point about that. But how even in this time, we're seeing communities change what they're doing, relearn, remake decisions, whether about how to celebrate holidays, about how to mourn, how to comfort our neighbors when we can't be in our normal situations. I think that's such the beautiful lesson about Torah, is that it meets you where you are in your life. It never goes anywhere. No matter where you are or where you're stuck, or you don't have your favorite chumash with you, it never disappears. And I think as a Jew, that's like the foundation of my nefesh, right? And so I want to leave you all with those words of Torah, and thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, thank you so much. Amazing. It's really awesome what you're doing in Temple. And keep up the amazing work. Amazing to stay in touch. Thank you so much for logging on and sharing. All right, let's stay here. Let's come back to Israel, back to the Holy Land. So the next wow was a student, but also really almost like a pseudo staff member. He really was involved in so many ways when he was a law student at Hebrew U. And he was involved for several years in the program. And so probably a lot of you guys know and love the next wow, which is Azaria Cohen. Give it up for Azaria. Woo!
Hey everyone. Hi Regan. Hi Brother Gardner. First of all, super cool on all the emojis. I have no idea how everyone's doing that. It's so cool. I gotta learn how to do that. Tyler, maybe you can show me after. I see you've got a handle on the emoji situation. Hey everyone, Chag Sameach in advance. Yeah, Shavuot's always been one of my favorite holidays. First of all, it's really nice to see you guys. Again, those who've been in the Beit Midrash, new faces. It's also, yeah, it's just really nice to learn together and sort of take this time. As Rabbi Yudrin said, I studied law at Hebrew U, had the esteemed privilege of learning the Beit Midrash at the time, and now I'm studying for my bar exam, God willing, which will be at the end of August. So we're all excited for that. And it's really nice to take an opportunity to pause and study Torah together across the world. So this is really nice. Yeah, Shavuot is definitely one of, if not my favorite of the regalim, of the holidays. And I wanted to share with you sort of two related ideas that sort of encompass my excitement for this chag that we're about to experience, and hopefully share a little bit of that with everyone here. First of all, everyone here knows, and it's been people before me have already hinted to the fact that Shavuot is the holiday of excited Torah learning, and to me, it's always a great flashback to my first year in yeshiva. I had the privilege of studying in Ma'ale Adumim, right next door to where Rabbi Grodner lives in Kfar Adumim. And I just remember my first day approaching the Beit Midrash there. You get halfway around the world. Many of you can relate to this, especially if you've been to the RG Beit Midrash. Certainly over the past few years, when I was there, it's a little nerve-wracking. You don't know what to expect. You're halfway around the world from your native town, language, peers, and through the glass door you can see sort of a whole room of people who are talking and reading and studying intensely, and you're slowly like walking towards this experience, and you have no idea what to expect. You feel totally out of your element. And I'll never forget the moment where I like opened the door to the Beit Midrash. Because all that nervousness and intensity that you see before makes immensely more sense when you open the door and you feel that energy and that electricity in the air. And that's kind of the contagious excitement for learning Torah that at least that I think many of us have experienced in a Beit Midrash setting. And that to me was always like an incredibly inspiring sensation, where everyone around you is arguing and learning loudly with one another and explaining their ideas, and sharing and learning and listening. And that electricity really inspired me ever since, and I'm sure many in this Zoom call can relate, to continue learning and to continue going back to those places of study, to help establish those places of study and spread that electricity, throughout the world, to really enjoy learning Torah together. And that very much is emblematic to me of Shavuot night, of what exactly why are we staying up? It's super easy to stay up. Many of us, have binge watched TV shows or stayed up, in anticipation of the new iPhone, or, for a football game, which airs at ridiculous times here in Israel. But it's something completely different when you're engaging with your peers in an intellectual or emotional dialogue about something real and something deep. And it's very easy for those conversations to take you through the night when you really get into them. And I hope that everyone has that experience. And with that, I also want to share the first Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. For those of you who know me, I'm obsessed with Mishnah. And the Mishnah of Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, describes the transmission of the Torah. And oftentimes when we think about the year, and we think about Torah highlights in the year, right? So Simchat Torah, which follows Sukkot, is often cited as like the beginning of the Torah study. And a few years ago when I was studying on Simchat Torah with a group of friends, it occurred to us that really, it's kind of funny that we celebrate Simchat Torah separately from Shavuot. And we got to thinking a little bit about what the differences are. And if you think about the practices, certainly, and also sources that relate to the event, Simchat Torah celebrates the masses, sort of the broad community, celebration of Torah, but there isn't a commandment, so to speak, or a practice to learn all night there. Whereas Shavuot, which is, coming up upon us this week, you have this celebration that's focused on sort of that personal growth and development and that personal journey, and that personal experience of learning Torah. And I think that's it's really fitting when you read the first Mishnah of Pirkei Avot, which discusses the transmission. This holiday and Simchat Torah are sort of two sides of the same coin. Where on Simchat Torah, we celebrate the giving to the masses of the Torah, but really before that, the transmission really began with individuals. And it began with that individual opting to study and opting in to learn Torah and share that Torah with friends, and then hear their ideas. And certainly if you look at the Rambam, Maimonides' description of that process of the transmission of the Torah, it started with a select few, but then everyone, as part of that transmission process, was also required to then repeat that and interpret that and expand on that and have a chavruta with the people around them. So to me, this chag, and hopefully may we be zocha, even despite the corona limitations, to have the opportunity to engage in a chavruta or engage in deep, meaningful Torah study and discussions, and really sort of experience that unboxing, that first, look at the Torah, which hopefully we will merit this Thursday, and then begin that process of transmission. Start a new chavruta with friends, in your country or abroad or over Zoom, and hopefully expand on what we start this chag, and check in on Simchat Torah to see just how quickly and how far that has spread. So I wish all of you Chag Sameach, and I'm really excited.
Thank you, Azariah Khan. Chag Sameach. Beautiful. Let it continue. It's not stop now. It's just getting good. Speaking of letting it continue, I want to turn it back to America, and maybe one of the farthest away, at least from where I'm at, all the way out on the West Coast, all the way out to Arizona. And speaking of keeping it going, this particular student, alumni, decided that his experience at the Beit Midrash was meaningful for him, and he wanted to bring it back to his campus at American University. And I probably told the story about 100 times. And for those of you that have sat with me since he's been in the Beit Midrash, I'm sure you've heard about him because I talk about him and what he started and how his interest in bringing something of our Beit Midrash program back to America really started the whole process of getting more involved with alumni. And we heard from Jess Heather, who did an amazing thing at Muhlenberg, got a Beit Midrash started there. And I'm sure some of the other people in the group as well. So with that background, I'm going to turn it over to Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. Scott Lorch, give him a big hand. Woohoo!
Thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah, so that was a great introduction. I appreciate that. So I was at Hebrew U in 2013. I was actually there more for fun because I already had enough credits to really graduate. So I was like, I still want to study abroad in Israel. I live in Arizona. I work in real estate investing and then real estate photography and 3D tours. And thankfully, COVID has only been good for my business because people realize when you can't leave a home, it's really hard to show new listings and things like that. So kind of touching on actually the whole idea of one of the things I want to talk about is the statement of like, make yourself a rabbi and acquire yourself as a friend and judge every person on a positive side. Part of the stuff that after Hebrew U, I went back and I was like, Jews need to talk about, you know, have a Hebrew style learning. And I saw the biggest thing was a lot of topics, just more secular or non-observant Jews were like, I don't really care, you know, about lost and found or how many apples apart can you say is okay. They care about, you know, if you're waiting in line for chicken nuggets and somebody cuts you, that was more important. And so I took that idea to American, but now I feel it's not as easy in the real world. So one of the things I'm doing right now, and the reason I picked the idea of make yourself a teacher is I feel that as I've been in the quote unquote real world, it's not as easy as college was. You know, college, you got out of bed and you could see your best friend in 2 seconds usually. You know, this, you got to make an effort. And so now I live at Moish House, and if you're not familiar with it, you should be. Events for Jews in their 20s, and it's a nonprofit organization that puts Jews in one home, allows them to get a budget every month to do activities, whether it's as simple as going to get beers or a Shabbat dinner. And I found that this has given me the ability to give the opportunity for people to do the make yourself a teacher, inquire yourself a friend. As much as we want to say that everybody should wake up in the morning and say, I want to be hanging out with Jews and studying Torah, it's not the case. And I have a lot of friends who are more secular, just, you know, they're Jewish, but if you said, what are you doing for high holidays? They might say, when is it again? Even though it could be that day. So giving them this ability and being a part of this house, I feel that I've been able to give them that opportunity. We have community members that run different learning programs. We have one girl, Hannah Prager, she now puts on an event about one every month, which has been fantastic. We're able to see everybody's different type of ways and give them that ability to be that teacher and be that friend. And so I found that this has been a huge part of my Jewish journey is just, I mean, I right now have I call it the nerd chat. It's called Nerds for Life on, we have a WhatsApp group, and I took, first there was a Shabbat where I met like 4 or 5 just really nerdy people, all wonderful humans. And I was like, we all need to be friends because we're all Jewish and we all have so much in common. We just don't realize it. And this group now has a community that when they go to a Moish House event, they can be there and experience the Jewish stuff and feel comfortable. And so I really feel that that has been something very big in my life. And yeah, so, and hopefully, you know, I know everybody on here has probably done something similar with their community, and I hope they continue to do that because, you know, we have to be those leaders to create it. And once we do, we're able to pass that on to everybody else. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. loving the keep it going vibe. You know, it's not just now, it's not just what happens at Hebrew U, but we keep it going at American and keeping it going at Moshe House in Arizona and Phoenix and Scottsdale. Keep it up, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Great to see you, Scott.
Thanks.
All right. So we have at least one, maybe two musical wows tonight. I'll go with the Vadai, the certain musical wow, just to spice things up a little bit, and then we'll see if there's a second one that is musical or not. But we do have one for sure musical, and it might have been one of the first musical wows that we had, but it was awesome, and I remembered it. So when I thought about this, I was like, okay, we got to get Max Silverstone to do a musical wow for us. So everybody give a big round of applause to Max Silverstone. Woo-hoo!
Hi everyone, I'm Max. I'm currently in Washington Heights. I just finished my first year of cantorial school at the Jewish Theological Seminary. I was at Hebrew U 2 years ago for my spring semester of my junior year when I was at Brandeis. So at Hebrew U, I was also part of the Nachshon Project, and I came to the RRG Beit Midrash every Monday night, and it was a party. So yeah, I want to talk about music, and there's a lot I can say about music. One, the first thing I want to say about music is how it can transcend boundaries in the Jewish world. With Torah can also transcend boundaries in the Jewish world, but when you talk about boundaries, it can often be defined by Torah, like by someone's interpretation of Torah, by what they believe, how they follow it. But music, on the other hand, you'll hear a tune, you'll hear a melody, and it can be the same melody can be heard in many different places in the Jewish world. For example, that melody is by Debbie Friedman. Debbie Friedman was a very prominent Reform American Jewish songwriter who wrote that Havdalah tune 30, 40-ish years ago. And that tune has become very popular, not just in the American Reform movement, but in the American conservative movement. It's used in a lot of modern Orthodox places, and it's also made its way outside of America. You'll hear it in communities in Europe. You'll hear it in communities in Israel. This one tune that is sung all throughout the Jewish world, that these people who might not agree on what kashrut looks like, some may follow Shabbat traditionally, some may not, but they still all kind of like share this tune. Another tune, that tune is for Friday Night Kiddush by Louis Lewandowski, who was an organ player, a composer, a choir master, a conductor in Berlin 150 years ago. And that tune that's older, twice as old as the state of Israel, is like super popular in the Jewish world. It's used everywhere. I'm sure a lot of people recognize it. I'm sure you've used it or use it all the time. And I think that like music has this power that it transcends all these boundaries in the Jewish world that a lot of other things can't do. Another power that music has is that it can set a mood for something. Especially now, like one thing that's been on my mind the last few months as I've been in quarantine is communal singing, and how like, at least when I go to shul, one of the things I most look forward to are the tunes for the words, because they can elevate this liturgy. You know, some of our liturgy is almost 2,000 years old. Some of it's older if it comes from the Bible. It's like 5,000 years old. So we can take these very ancient texts and we can set them to music that was maybe 150 years old, maybe is 150 days old. I don't know. It can be brand new music. People are writing new liturgical music all the time. And through music, we can achieve these feelings in a deeper and a more spiritual way than by just reading the text on its own or just by chanting it on its own. I think there's a great power there. And especially, as I was alluding to before, communal singing, there's especially a power that if you're in shul with 10 people, with 100 people, with 1,000 people. I grew up in a very big shul in New York City that could sometimes have 1,000 people on a Shabbat, that for everyone to be singing together, it's a really powerful thing. people are harmonizing, people are doing whatever, that we're taking words on a page which already have so much life in them, and we're bringing them to life even further with this extra step. So that's I guess, yeah, that's my wow about how music is just this powerful force in Judaism that, we might actually take for granted. Although I'm sure the last few months maybe we've understood it more, since there's been an absence of it for many people. If we haven't been able to go to shul or be able to sing on Friday nights or Saturday nights, maybe sing with their family, but not with guests. So yeah, for me, music is a huge part of my Jewish identity, and I love singing melodies. I love singing nigunim. It's one of the things that I miss from being in quarantine, not being able to sing with other people and sing at shul. And yeah, that's my wow.
Thank you, Max. Amazing. I just to share briefly, here what we did, and at least in Beit El, in our community, and in another community as well, we had minyan in our back patio, the patios, because everybody in my community happens to be Jewish and wants to pray. So we made like these patio balcony minyans. And there had been several weeks, maybe even a month, where that wasn't even possible. And then the morning of Pesach, they had arranged this minyan, and we were singing together as a community, even though I was on my balcony, you could barely even see everyone, but you could hear each other singing. And it was such an amazing thing. And I forgot how much I missed that and how much that was a part of my Jewish experience as well. So anyway, thank you very much, Max. Great to see you. You are the official RG Beit Midrash cantor now. We've now appointed you. And keep doing amazing stuff and sharing your voice and your Torah with Am Yisrael. They're ready for you. By the time you're done, we'll be back, hopefully much, much sooner. But keep practicing, because when we come back, we're going to be ready to hear more from you, Max. Thank you very, very much. All right. Let's see who we got here. All right, I want to go down south a little bit. We've been hearing a lot of New York, New Jersey people, some Israel, and that's all good. But there are Jews in the South. There are amazing Jews in the South. And one of those is Shira Kaplan. She was with us a couple years ago, and I've been following all her success on campus and everything since. If you're in the RG Beit Midrash WhatsApp group, maybe you even heard her podcast, Amuna Until the Sunset, which is amazing. Big fan, and everyone who hasn't yet heard that should definitely check it out. So everybody, please give a big, yay, Shira, exactly. Everybody, big round of applause for Shira Kaplan.
That is so nice. Thank you, Rabbi Yudrin. You've been speaking so nicely about everyone. We should speak very nicely about you and Rabbi Grodner. Look at these amazing people from everywhere. And you've gathered all of us. It truly is magical. Like all of the positive things, all the positive Jewish things in my life have been directly because Rabbi Yudrin connected me to them. And that is the truth. So thank you so much. And thank you for sending my podcast in the group. That's very nice. So thank you so much. My name is Shira. I am from Central Louisiana. I was at Hebrew U in the fall of 2017. And I graduated from Tulane last spring with a degree in music and a degree in psychology with a minor in Jewish studies. And that minor in Jewish studies was entirely made up of the Ulpan that I took at the Rothberg International School. So like I said, I'm from Louisiana, and I'm from a very small Jewish community called Alexandria. And my family runs a very small synagogue that hasn't had a rabbi, I think, since before the 80s. My grandfather was sort of the lay leader, and then my father took over when he came back after my grandfather passed away. And so, my whole life I kind of grew up with my brother and my sister leading Kabbalat Shabbat and leading Mariv. And then after my Bat Mitzvah, I started doing Divrei Torah. We definitely felt important in our congregation because Shul didn't happen without us. And we felt important in our community because there were no other people that could answer questions about Judaism. We were the only Jews at our school. But I didn't feel very important to the rest of the Jewish world. I felt like we practiced survival Judaism, which is like you do it because there's nobody else to do it. You marry Jewish and you have 9,000 children because if you don't have 9,000 children, then our people will die. And that led to a very strong sense of Jewish identity. But it also left very little room for spiritual connection. We were so worried about, this is dramatic, we were so worried about holding up the torch that we didn't enjoy the flames. So in the fall of 2017, I came to study at Hebrew U, and I felt like I was able to finally take a breath, to finally just breathe, because I finally didn't have to be holding up the torch. I didn't have to be constantly trying to fend off questions about why we did things. There were Jews everywhere, and Jews that knew all these answers, who were leading and guiding the rest of the Jewish world. I didn't have to do it anymore. I was tired of being depended on. And when I came to Israel, I finally felt like I could just be. I really just wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted just to be like in the back of a congregation, a nondescript person just there in a huge shul, and I didn't want to have any leadership role. And of course that didn't last. And with Rabbi Yudrin's encouragement to be in leadership roles, I realized that I was very lucky to have this intense sense of responsibility, no matter how intense that is. And this idea of like having responsibility to share things with the rest of the Jewish world kind of reminds me of Noach. So Noach is the only person described in the Torah as a tzaddik. And he obviously, he's like I said, in his generation. In compared to other generations, maybe he wouldn't have been such a tzaddik. But even in the many years that he's building this ark, that's a direct command from God to save the future of the Jewish people. He never gets anyone to join him. He's not able to convince anyone that they need to repent. They need to make tshuva. And I read before that Noach is described as a tzaddik impels, a righteous man in a fur coat. There are two ways to be warm. You can wrap yourself in a fur coat, or you can make a fire. You're warm either way. But if you're making a fire, then everyone around you can enjoy the warmth. And often Torah is likened to Aish, to fire. And it's also likened to water, the exact opposite. We don't go more than 3 days without reading Torah. We don't, in Yeshayahu, in Isaiah, all who are thirsty come to drink, and that's the water is Torah. And this kind of reminded me of something that I really enjoy doing. I really like painting with watercolors. And I don't know if you've ever done this before. I happen to have my watercolors here for a little demonstration. If you've ever painted with watercolors, the pigment, like the strength of the color, is really dependent on how much water you use. So for example, if you just use mostly pigment, you can make very, very strong coloring, a beautiful, beautiful circle here. Very, very, very strong color. But if you add a little bit of water, the color goes a lot further. Much further, see? Very nice. So what the point is here is that if we are beautiful and strong and all on our own, our color is our good deeds, our mitzvot, the good qualities about us. But if we add a little bit of water, the words of Torah, our color can be shared to so many other people. It can go so much further. And none of us want to be at tzaddik impels. We want to share the fire. We want to share the water with everyone. And we can do that when we are powered by water, by words of Torah. So that's it.
Thank you, Shira. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you said, and thank you for sharing. How is it not, how can I not say great things about you and everybody else? I mean, it's just incredible people. So now you get to see and experience how awesome everybody is. But thank you for saying that. I really, really appreciate it. All right. Head out back to the New York, New Jersey area to another one of our members who is celebrating. The next wow is from Tyler Vizel, who just got engaged like 3 weeks or so, maybe a month or so ago. I see his kala is on here, and she's smiling. Hi, Siona. There was supposed to be like an engagement party, a big thing that I was going to partake in, but we didn't get to. But mazel tov to you guys. And Tyler, it's great to see you, man. You are an awesome guy, and I'm just so happy to see you here. So happy for you and Siona. And hopefully we'll be able to celebrate soon.
God willing. Thank you, Rabbi.
Meantime, let's give you a big round of applause and a mazel tov. I'm ready to be wow.
Thank you very much. And it's great to see Rabbi Udrin, Rabbi Grodner. Great to see your faces, even though it's virtual. Okay, so my name is Tyler. I technically live in Washington Heights, actually in DA's old room. But now I'm back in New Jersey since the world has changed.
Did you go to Hebrew U at the same time as DA, or that just happened to be?
I think a year after or 2 years after.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, big coincidence. And I was at Hebrew U so 2 years ago in the springtime. And then I was in yeshiva the following year. And while I was there in Jerusalem at Chappelle's, I was back involved in the program as well, learning with students. So I really love it. Rabbi Adrian, you do great things. And right now in life, I'm working for a healthcare software company, selling media sponsorships on our platform. And I guess technically we're doing really well right now because we're healthcare related. So job security is a good thing. But I wanted to share a little story with everyone. So there's a story of a girl named Rachel who was looking for a shidduch for her husband. And against her family's objection, she ended up marrying a guy named Akiva. And Akiva was very poor and really didn't know any Torah. He had no Torah knowledge. But Rachel decided to marry him anyway. So she told him that she would marry him on condition that after they get married, he has to go to yeshiva and learn Torah. So Baruch Hashem, they got married. But after their wedding, Akiva simply refused to learn Torah. He was embarrassed that if he went to the Beit Midrash, everyone would laugh at him for how little he knew, and he would look like a fool. The other people would be finishing tractates of Talmud, and he would still be learning Aleph Beit. So Rachel thought a bit, and she knew he wasn't going to budge. So what she did was she went to the marketplace, and after much effort, found a very strange-looking donkey, and this donkey had 2 humps on its back like a camel. So the next day, she took the donkey, put dirt between the 2 humps of the donkey, and then put plants in the dirt. And then she tells Akiva to come with her to the marketplace with this donkey who has dirt between his 2 humps and plants in the dirt. And when they get there, the donkey is the main attraction of the marketplace. Everyone is going and looking at this donkey and like laughing at it and looking at it and like, whoa, it's so amazing. And then they go back the very next day. And the day after and the day after and after that. And little by little, they notice that people just stop realizing eventually. It loses its spark, and everyone goes on their day as if the donkey isn't even there. And so once no more people came to the donkey anymore, Rachel turned to Akiva and said, Akiva, go and learn Torah. Don't worry about the people. How long can their laughter possibly last for? Soon you won't be Akiva the simple man, but you'll be the great Rabbi Akiva. And so Akiva, the simple man, listened to the words of his wife, Rachel, and set out to learn Torah. And he returned to her not as Akiva, the shepherd, the poor man, but as the great Rabbi Akiva that Rabbi Yudrin was talking about earlier, with 24,000 students behind him. And when he came back to his wife with his 24,000 students, he said, all that I have and all that you have, all belongs to my wife, Rachel. And this story was a midrash about the great sage, Rabbi Akiva. For a long time, I knew that I wanted to do something simple, such as wear a kippah wherever I go. But whatever it was, I always found some reason that would hold me back. I thought that people would stare at me or assume things about me I didn't want them to assume. But while I was a student at Hebrew U, I decided that it's what I had to do. So I took a jump and I said, this is who I want to be. And I started wearing a kippah publicly, identifying as a Jew. And I think to take strides in Judaism, every person eventually realizes that it will take some level of exertion. For everyone here who is merited to be Pesach Seders in the past, you're going to be the ones hosting those Seders one day. And you'll know how to run a Seder, how to welcome guests with Jewish warmth. And if you don't, then your guests and your children and your grandchildren will not learn, and they won't be able to pass it on to their children. Even to host meals for Shabbat, to celebrate holidays, whatever it may be. So Rachel showed Akiva that everyone needs to start somewhere, and it all starts by each person saying to themselves, what are the things that I can do, and am I willing to take jumps for Hashem and for my Jewish future? And that is my wow.
Wow, Tyler! Amazing. That was good on so many levels, most importantly because the main theme was how important it is to listen to your wife. So you're Siona's nodding. That's right. Good job, Tyler. Amazing. Wow, beautiful. You're bringing me back to some fantastic conversations we had on the couch outside there at Halo. I hope we get to do that again soon. Wishing
God
you
willing.
a big mazel tov. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, for sharing your wow. Really beautiful. Shar koach. Thank you, Tyler.
Unfortunately, I got to log off a little early, but thank you so much for inviting me. And
Of course. No problem. All good.
Hag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. All right. So, speaking of the mazel tov, let's keep that going. I see in front of me a student from the early years, not the very beginning, but from the early years. Someone who I had heard about even before he arrived at Hebrew U. Turns out we had a Pittsburgh family connection, and we had an amazing experience with him when he was on campus. And thankfully, we've been able to continue that with his wife, to get to know her, and now their new baby girl, Mia, who is like a month old, something like that. Is she there? Maybe Nathan is holding herself. Oh, there she is. So a big new Abba round of applause to Natan Schwartz and to Taylor, of course, and to Mia, who's right there with us. Give them a big round of applause and mazel tov.
Thank you. Yes, so my name is Natan Schwartz. This is my little baby girl, Mia. She's 7 weeks old today. Yeah. So I attended Hebrew U in 2011 in fall. And currently I live just outside of Philadelphia. I'm a trial attorney. So I just want to first express my sincere hakaras hatov to Rabbi Yudrin, Rabbi Grodner for the work that they put into the Baby Josh program. I gained a tremendous amount from it, not just the learning, but the friendships within the program, outside the program. I was in Israel a year ago, and I was able to meet up with Rabbi Yudrin. She was a little bit. I'm incredibly thankful for that opportunity. So when I reflect on like what it means to live a life of Torah, for me at least, sometimes the things that come to my mind are, the details, what needs to be done next, whether it's for a specific halakhic observance or a sefer, or, a past experience where, I might have wished I would have handled things a little bit differently. When I think about my personality, I think I'm a deep thinker, but not always, a fast actor. And it can be challenging. But, over the years, I found that taking a step back, simplifying my approach has been helpful. So when one is trying to figure out which path to take, look to the Torah. So I did that, and the creation of Adam, that how he's made the B'Tselem Elokim. He's made in the image of Hashem. What does this mean, and what does it mean to be B'Tselem Elokim? So one of my old Rebbe's, Rabbi Braun from Or Sameach in Muncie, he once told me a beautiful word on this pasuk. He said that how does one attain the status of being B'Tselem Elokim? First, we have to look at all the things that Hashem does. And let's look around the Pesukim first. So the backdrop of those Pesukim is creation. It's primordial transformation. It's life, Shabbat, all manifestations for the good. At the end of each Pasuk, it says that it was good. It was Tov. Elokim ki Tov. If you think about goodness, one perhaps could say that one of the purest expressions of goodness appear in the situations where an individual is able to perform acts of kindness for another. So Ron says that the degree to which one increases the output of goodness into the world, their output of chesed into the world, that's the degree to which they're achieving that level of being B'Tselem Elokim. The core message being that doing acts of kindness, of chesed, bring one closer to the characteristics or the personality of Hashem. Shavuot is coming this Thursday, as we all know. It's a Zecher Matan Torah, a day where each of us have an opportunity, have the time to try to delve deeper into our Yiddishkeit, into our learning. And, you know, that could be awesome, that could be exciting, but it could also be one of those moments where, you know, you realize I got a lot to do here. You know, I'm like writing lists, you know, I gotta try to improve on this relationship. I want to get to that safer. I want to try to get better, you know, in this mitzvah, you know, and it can be a lot, you know. However, Matan Torah, when I'm thinking about it, you know, I'm reminded of the fact that, you know, only a nation can undertake this journey of fulfilling the entire Torah. You know, we need men, we need women, we need Kohanim, we need Leviim, children, Eretz Yisrael, Beit HaMikdash. We need all of these different components, all of these different people, all these different places in order to really take advantage of what it means as a nation to fulfill the Torah as the whole. We need to work together in order to improve our lot. And I think this is the idea that Rabbi Braun is trying to talk about, that, you know, the goal of our nation is that every Jew in their own way, in their own unique personality, that, you know, I'm only going to have a limited influence on her. You know, she's going to be her own person. I can guide her, I can teach her, but there are going to be innate strengths that she has that are going to need to be cultivated. You know, she's only going to be able to accomplish what she is in this world to accomplish. So if we're able to see moments where we can increase our output of goodness and our output of chesed to each person and each situation, I think we can really attain as an individual, a family, as a nation, this level of really living and becoming B'Tselem Elokim. I just want to end off with a bracha that we should all merit to identify those areas where, even if it's like another minute, another action, a small thing, or if it's a big thing, where we can infuse just that little extra act of chesed. You know, you could see that it makes a tremendous difference in people's lives. Showing up a little bit early, offering to make another dish for Yontif, you know, learning that sefer with your nephew who's super excited about Torah, you know, and if we can take advantage of those moments, I think we can all come to that level of being B'Tselem Elokim. Thank you very much.
Yay, Natan! Thank you so much.
I'm
And
trying
I
to
thank
position
Pia for inspiring that beautiful Devar Torah, that beautiful wow. Oh, what a cutie. So sweet. Oh, we wish Mia and you and Taylor only good things, only nachas.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Good news. It's so much sweeter to hear good news during these challenging times. So thank you.
Amen.
Our best to Taylor. Wow, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she is so cute. All right. So we're going to go back in time to the beginning again, back to that first group back in 2000. And the next wow is going to be given by someone who, he just is such a unique and humorous and just such an incredible character. I think one of my highlights of my first year was Xander doing this rap we did for the talent show. If all of you guys were around, we used to do talent shows. But Xander did this rap to, oh man, maybe you remember the song, but it was hilarious. And it just culminated with a kind of joyful experience that you helped us all have together. So without any further ado, give a big warm round of applause to Xander Wald. Yeah, Xander, the tiger.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi. So, hello everybody. My name is Xander, and so yeah, I was Hebrew University back in 2010, the very beginning. So props to the rabbi for being willing to stick around after having to deal with me and my cohorts. I was a very precocious 12-year-old at that time. As you can tell, I'm still pretty young. But anyways, so I don't know if you're in some noise. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so speaking of Torah learning, something that I find so fascinating is really there's Torah learning as a mitzvah, and there's no other mitzvah that's at the same level as Torah learning. in the halacha and in the Gemara, I know it talks all about times where you're not even supposed to interrupt your learning for doing other mitzvahs, and it's something that's it's a higher level, and it's at a level that there's no other real mitzvah where it's infinite. There's no like, I've done that, okay, I'm gonna do another mitzvah now. I mean, you can say maybe with like saying brachas on food or something, but I don't think anyone can endlessly eat or sleep or etc. And so the fact that there's endless amount of Torah is obviously a good thing, but then it also puts you in a sense it's like, okay, so I'm going to learn some Torah, and then okay, I'll be like, okay, so like what's 1 out of infinity or 2 out of infinity? It's just 0, so why bother? But I'll just focus on doing mitzvahs and stuff, and so basically the reason why we need to learn Torah, or a key component of why, is because you can't really do any mitzvahs unless you learn Torah. And that's why there's most people think that if you can only learn one area of Torah, the first thing you should focus on is the practical halachas learning. And so I mean, that's something I've definitely taken into myself. That's a large reason why I was inspired in the last couple of years to do a smicha program, because that kind of gives you the key knowledge of basic kashrus, and also must do Shabbos and a lot of other practical areas, because you can learn endlessly, but you got to know how to live as a Jew first, and then after you're able to do that, you can start expanding that and learning all the amazing stuff. So that's why I feel like being able to learn smicha is something that I'm not an expert Gemara learner or a master of Tanakh necessarily, but it's something that I find very meaningful, is to be able to learn the very practical stuff. I consider myself a practical person, and I think it's very key component of. And obviously, it's not the only thing you should be learning, but just it's something that is around, especially around Shavuot time, and when we're talking about the Torah and mitzvahs and receiving them, and especially for people I know in my own journey of starting to become more religious, I was very lost, and so that was something that I found out that was really important, because it's very hard to approach Judaism as coming from not so much. So I just think that's a very practical thing at this time, and I hope everyone's doing well. And yeah, it's tough times. I know I moved from Israel back to the US in the middle of all this, so it's been crazy times. But yeah, thank you everybody.
Yeah, Xander, thank you. The practical laws, I love it. We can wish you a mazel tov. Yeah, you're like a little bit over a year being married, but hey, mazel tov, amazing. So happy for you guys, and I hope you settle in well, and we hope to see you guys back here soon and continue your learning and growing. It's Amash, really, really inspiring. The eye of the tiger, Xander. I love it. Do you remember the song? What was the song that you did the lip sync to back 2010? Do you remember? It's like down.
It wasn't a lip sync. It was a parody. Yeah, it was a song that was big at the time on the charts, and not one that title's appropriate to say.
I guess I was just coming out of yeshiva. I had no idea.
But I made it much more appropriate.
You did. It was a lot of fun.
That's my goal, to make things more appropriate.
Amazing. Thank you, Xander. Great to see you in Mazel Tov. All right. So I see we're coming close to the end of the docket. We're going to have one more, and then we're going to hear some closing words from Rabbi Grodner. He's going to tie all this up. He's smiling so big, it's just like the screen can't even hold his smile. It's really unbelievable. But if there's anyone else that would like to give a wow who's on here, I see some people that did not get to share. If you'd like to give a wow, please just shoot me in the chat and let me know. Otherwise, we're going to ask Shani Mali, who has been with the program now for 2 years. And not only does she help with the practical issues as far as, making the program happen when it happens at Hebrew U, but she also helped us with a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and especially with all the programs that we've been doing over Zoom. And this program in particular, we came up with, I think it was probably her idea, as we were kind of bouncing ideas around to try to figure out a way that we can really get alumni together to do something meaningful. So she really, I owe her a lot of gratitude. She's an aspiring and inspiring educator, and we know she's going big places, and she'll, hopefully say, and they'll say about her, I remember she was at the RG Beit Midrash when she goes on to do great things for Am Yisrael. So everyone give a big hand for Shani Mali.
Thank you very much. So I thought to speak a little bit about my personal connection, what I feel closest to in Torah, which is the halachic system. And as Rabbi Yudrin started out by saying, everybody has their particular letter that they find within the Torah. And mine, probably in my early teens, I discovered that it was halacha, particularly Hilchot Shabbat, just always spoke to me. And people would ask me, they'd be like, but there's so many details, like, why do you need so many details? You can't just talk to God or just do stuff. Like, why do you need all of these details? And I once read, I don't remember who it was that said this, but I once read that this guy said, just as when you want to give a gift to someone and you want to show your gratitude to someone and your love for someone, you don't just send them a bouquet of flowers, you send them their favorite flowers. There's all these details that show that you know the person and that you love them. And all of these details that we have with halakha show how much we want to and how much we do know God. So to me, that it absolutely speaks to me. And one of the issues that I've been exploring a lot lately is halachic loopholes. Things like selling the land during the sabbatical year, things like selling chametz during Pesach, different ways in which we can collect interest, and all of these different, what we seemingly have a negative side, I actually have discovered that they actually have a very positive side as well. And these are all human mechanisms that we've applied to divine laws. And the way that I'll just sum it up really quickly in the sort of phrase that I've been having go through my mind is that it's exactly in the humanity lies the divinity.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Shani. Beautiful. Amazing. And really, thank you for your sister's happy for you too. I see you're smiling big. Hi, Shira. This is also a part of the Beit Midrash. And really a big thank you on coming up with this idea, just bringing everyone together. This has just been mi'al or mi'aver, as we say here, just above and beyond to see everyone and connect all the years together. Wow, thank you. And ask Rabbi Grodner to put a neat bow on this very special, unique, incredible, inspiring, I don't know, I'm just kind of flying over here. I see Rabbi Grodner is also, to really see everyone and bring everyone together. I'm ready to receive the Torah anew. So Rabbi Grodner, we'd love to hear some words from you before we sign off this evening.
Good evening, everybody. Shalom, bracha. I want to give a yashar koach to Rav Yonatan, who put this evening together. It was his idea. He was instrumental in putting everyone together. And for me personally, it was an evening of inspiration to see you and to hear you and to know that you're there and to see your growth, your spiritual growth, and as well as your professional growth. It's absolutely a delightful feeling for me. In fact, it reminds me of a passage in Masechet Tanit, a wanderer in the desert whose food ran out, his water ran out, his energy is wearing out. And the last desperate effort, he crawls to a tree standing there in this desert, the barren desert, and it happens to be a date tree. And he manages to pluck some dates from the tree, and he nourishes himself, and he rests and he closes his eyes and sleeps. Wakes up in the morning and he looks up at the tree and he says, tree, how can I bless you? What can I bless you with? Shade you have, water you have, fruits you have. Well, what can I bless you? So then he took the dates, the pits of the dates that he had eaten the night before, and he planted them in a circle around the tree. He said, "Oh tree, may your children be just like you." The blessing I want to give to each and every one of you. May you be blessed with a next generation to be just like you, if not even better. And you see the Beit Midrash as a kind of tree, as an Eitz Chaim, and you are the fruits. You are the delicious, beautiful, and very tempting fruits that grew partially on the Eitz Chaim of the RRG Beit Midrash. And to me, this is nachas. This is really nachas. Rabbi Yonatan began the evening with Rabbi Akiva, and then we have Rabbi Akiva mentioned in the middle of the evening, so perhaps we can close the evening with Rabbi Akiva again. Rabbi Akiva devoted his life to teaching. We heard earlier how his wife Rachel was inspiration for him. He went on to become one of the greatest luminary figures in all of our history. The Romans passed a law saying anyone found teaching Torah would be put to death. It was a capital crime. Rabbi Akiva continued teaching Torah. And a friend of his by the name of Pappus said to him, "Akiva, you're an old man. Give it up, retire, go on pension. You're risking your life. Why are you doing this? Why are you teaching Torah?" So Rabbi Akiva said, "Let me give you a mashal. I'll give you an example, parable. There was once a fox walking by a stream of water. Fox looks in the water and sees fish. He says to the fish, 'Fish, come up out of the water. There's a fisherman downstream who's going to catch you. Come up here and I'll take good care of you.' So the fish responded to the fox and said, 'Fox, oh fox, you're supposed to be the most clever of all the animals, but you sound like a fool. If our lives are in danger in the water, how much more so are our lives in danger out of the water?' Said Rabbi Akiva to Pappus, if our lives are in danger, if we teach Torah and learn Torah, how much more so are our lives in danger if we don't study Torah?" And in essence, what Rabbi Akiva was saying is that our spiritual lifeline is through the study of Torah. And the study of Torah is not a one-time event or one-night event. It's a lifetime event. As was said earlier, right in the very beginning, that we don't make a bracha every time we study Torah because it's an ongoing process. It's like the breath of life that we breathe every moment. So it makes me so happy, and I'm sure it makes Rabbi Yonanan happy to see how you are engaged in Torah, you're engaged in mitzvot, you're bringing others to the study of Torah, and to me this is the greatest reward. Hashem should bless you and your families with good health and happiness. May we see an end to the coronavirus very shortly, very soon, B'ezrat Hashem. We continue going about a normal way of life. And may we see a spiritual growth and a spiritual healing for all of Am Yisrael. Thank you very much, and I wish you all Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi Grodner. So beautiful. What a beautiful way to close such a special evening. I just want to mirror my thanks back to you, Rabbi Grodner. We've had students from the last 10 years. There were another 25 years of students that we have to find and reconnect with as well that were deeply influenced by your efforts. And our programs going forward is based on your love and your dedication towards Torah, to sharing Torah. I feel a tremendous amount of gratitude towards you, and I know we all do as well. So really a big issue and a Hag Sameach. Thank you so much, everyone. As Rabbi Gardner said, we just love seeing how you guys how your lives have unfolded, how you find ways to express Judaism in the ways that are important to you, to share it with others, to go out there to really make a difference in the Jewish community. And we look forward to staying in touch. Please keep in touch with us. Maybe we'll do more of these type of events because it really is amazing to see all of you and to hear from all of you. And really, what can I say more than thank you? Thank you, everyone. It really was beautiful. Yashar koach to everybody. Thank you.
Yashar koach, Rabbi Yonatan.
Thank you. Hag Sameach to everybody.
Thank you. Hag Sameach.
Day. Looks like we got some interest for the next one already. Thanks again, everybody. Hag Sameach and Laila Tov.
Sameach, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Good to see you.